Welcome to Dynasty Savvy. What are we doing with Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews moving forward? That's what everyone wants to know. It's a big mystery right now. What do you think, Blake?
Yeah, I don't think it's too much of a mystery if we're using some logic in this conversation, because they played on Thursday night. Everyone wants to panic, and leagues have been won and lost on Thursday night. But yeah, as we saw, across the league, everyone put up dud tight end performances except for Isaiah Likely, and because no one else had a teammate exceed expectations like that. Andrews is kind of putting this question for his, how is he going to be going forward? Like, how's his production going to be, and is Isaiah Likely going to be the guy? And basically, to put it short, is I think both these guys can be top 12 tight ends. And while maybe you could look at it as this tight end one ceiling that a lot of us were drafting Andrews with, believing that he could easily be the tight end one, maybe feels a little less likely. But again, this top 5 range of outcomes for him still feels completely reasonable, based off of the usage. And we know that KC, after the fact now has, because this game has put such a spotlight on Andrews' usage, being first game of the year, KC has eliminated from the game plan, always. So when they as soon as their Steve Spagnuolo has taken over that defense. So yeah, nothing too concerning about he had the highest route participation of all tight ends, and so I'm not panicking on Andrews, but I'm completely bumping the Likely up, and he feels like he's the guy that you can start in this ugly tight end, room we got in the NFL here. What do you think about that, Dan?
Yeah, so I'm looking at the Mark Andrews game log versus the Kansas City Chiefs over the years. We got 0 receptions for 0 yards, 3 catches for 15, 3 for 22, 5 for 57, 2 for 14, and 0 receiving touchdowns in those 5 games. So, yeah, I mean, is this just another instance of Mark Andrews disappointing against the Chiefs? Or, I mean, what the heck happened exactly? I mean, why did Likely just come out of nowhere like this in this game? Do you have any thoughts about that? I mean, Andy Holloway tweeted saying that, like, he thinks that the Chiefs basically just kind of took Andrews out of the game plan. He said they had like 3 defenders on him on the final 2 plays. And they were just basically focusing on Andrews because they didn't think they were going to get beat deep because the Ravens O-line was playing bad and couldn't protect Lamar Jackson. We saw him running around all game. So, yeah, I mean, what exactly happened in this game, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, if you've been on Twitter, you've been seeing the triple team highlights on Andrews, and again, the plays in the red zone, yeah, just completely bracketed. Again, yeah, let's follow trends. Let's use some data rather than our feelings in this one. I think it can definitely be good to follow your intuition or this kind of this whatever you might be feeling. But again, I think this is a perfect one to just follow the data. Again, Likely doesn't necessarily mean he's cutting into Andrews at all. It's actually, in fact, Andrews had a 64% slot snap share. I mean, he's basically just a receiver himself, where Likely's more this blocking tight end. Again, they move them around, so no one has a specific role. But yeah, I mean, we don't need
Likely didn't look like a blocking tight end on Thursday. I
Oh,
mean, so
really? Dude, you missed his pancakes then. He was, yeah, I know what
oh,
you mean.
really?
Like, okay,
Okay.
I know you mean that as in, like, he was.
Yeah, okay, I gotcha. Okay, yeah, maybe he had some great blocks.
Oh my goodness, he had like 3 pancakes. I mean, he's a phenomenal
Okay.
blocker.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, he blocked like, I think he pancaked the linebacker. It might have been actually it was Nick Bolton. It was really impressive.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Andrews has never been this guy that's staying like blocking as the 6th man. They're always using him for what his skill set is, receiving.
Yeah.
And you can look for him to continue to do that. That's why he led the NFL in route participation at the tight end position. Again, this is new offense, and we expected more 12 or 22 personnel. And I mean, they have no one at receiver but Flowers.
Yeah.
We know this.
Yeah. So I mean, can we basically just think of Likely as like the Ravens' like second wide receiver? And can we react to this game as if like Rashad Bateman went off and had a big game? Would we be panicking about Mark Andrews in that situation? Probably not.
Yeah, and look across to other team positions. Are people panicking on Sam Laporta? I doubt it. Jamison Williams just went off. Treat Isaiah Likely and Jamison Williams the same in this scenario for their effect on these top 5 tight ends. So.
Yeah. So we're not panicked on Mark Andrews, but what do we think of Isaiah Likely going forward? Are we buying this, or is this just like a 1-game anomaly?
I mean, yeah, we got to respect exactly how things panned out. If teams decide to try and take Mark Andrews out of the game plan, maybe that shows how they want to use Likely. And of course, at the beginning of the game, it was not Likely at all. It was Flowers' time.
Mhm.
Again, so yeah, I think all three of those guys have chances to be huge PPR monsters.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, it was just tons of checkdowns for Likely, right? And then mixed in with the big play, we know he's a really talented receiver that can make those
Right.
contested and yards after catch plays. So the perfect
Yeah.
storm of his skill sets. Yeah, there's no knock on Likely. That this has been an offense looking for pass catchers that can produce in fantasy, and now
Yeah.
it appears like we have three that you can start. The issue, I guess, Dan, is like if you have Andrews and Likely, what do you do then? Like,
Well, yeah, actually, I think here's even the better question because I think a lot of people watching this video are
yeah,
probably playing in like their home redraft league. They probably drafted Mark
yeah,
Andrews, and there's a good chance Isaiah Likely is sitting on waivers this
yeah,
week. Didn't get drafted. Probably you
yeah.
probably have short benches and
You might
typical
have picked
home.
him up already when you're watching this on waivers and have
Yeah, but I
both.
mean, a lot of waivers run tonight, so there's a good chance. Or I guess by the time this video comes out. But in any case, what are you doing? Like, if you own Mark
Yeah.
Andrews, you drafted him, and yeah, likely he's on waivers. Like, what are
Yeah.
you doing in that case?
In any case, unless you're playing in your dynasty, but again, we're gonna keep this to like the redraft shallower.
Yeah.
We're not starting 12. We're starting the regular couple flexes, whatever it might be.
Mhm.
That's interesting. And obviously, yeah, depending on your settings, if there's a tight end premium or not, then it would feel pretty good to be able to start both of them. But this could be an opportunity where you actually could try to take advantage of maybe selling on Mark Andrews if a guy's looking to buy the dip, and maybe you can take advantage in another position, and you can say, hey, I'm just gonna roll Likely. You're gonna be fine if you miss out
Mhm.
on the going forward. We are I'm assuming Mark Andrews is gonna be the lead guy and continue, but Likely could be realistically not that far behind. So you can
Mhm.
try and make this gamble. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. Again, we truly just don't know. It's very small
Yeah.
sample size.
But I mean, what are you doing? Are you picking up likely if you already own Andrews and you're keeping both, or you're trying to trade one, or you
Yeah,
don't care who you keep, or
I picked up Likely in a league where I own Travis Kelsey,
okay,
and the reason I did that was simply because I won't get Likely in any other league.
yeah,
For this is the one chance I had to get him,
mhm.
um, and I can just kind of wait a week, see
Yeah.
where Likely's things are again.
Yeah, I
Um,
don't hate that strategy of
you know,
just getting both guys. Like if you drafted Andrews, grab likely
yeah,
off of waivers if you can, and kind of see how it plays out in terms of who to start in week two. It's
yeah,
definitely a tougher question. I mean, it's hard not to be a prisoner of the moment and
yeah,
just kind of ride the hot hand and likely, but I mean, it could just as
yeah,
easily, flip the other way. And Andrews has a big game.
yeah,
The old expression is the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So, like, I wouldn't be shocked if they made a point to get Andrews going in week two.
yeah, and absolutely. And again, I guess what I'm saying, if you feel comfortable going Likely, trust yourself in that decision. I'm not gonna tell you which one to
Probably
do.
easier to sell likely
That's what I'm
right
saying,
now.
though. It Likely is probably easier to sell. So I think Likely
Exactly.
for a tight end needy team is really what I'm trying to do with my own
Yeah.
share.
Right.
Is I can look to sell Likely because a lot of people are going to need tight ends. Njoku went down,
Mhm.
and yeah, we can just go ahead and try to use him as trade bait, as he's the hottest name other than Jordan Mason on
Yeah.
waiver wire. So
And then just a quick dynasty take. Are you buying both of these guys in dynasty? And are you sending out any trade offers this week? And if so, like, what are you trying to craft
yeah,
up for one of these guys?
yeah. If you can take another tight end like an Evan Ingram and try
Yeah.
to get up and just make that swap. For depending on your
Yeah.
format,
Although,
it'll always be different.
yeah, of
But
course, Ingram's stock is down right now. But like, I mean,
yeah,
what kind of pick would you throw on top of Evan Ingram to get to Andrews or to
it's
likely?
it's very tough to say if we're without our any league context, and there's so many
Yeah.
different types and tight end premiums. So just do
Yeah.
what feels within reason. We're not talking,
Yeah. Yeah.
like I know complete overpay. You want them to be like similarly viewed, and you just can throw something else on top.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
And ideally, you're trying to get either of these guys without giving up a first. Now,
yeah,
that might not always be possible, especially if
yeah.
it's a larger tight end premium, but that's always the first choice. If you can avoid giving up a first, that's ideal, of course.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think both these guys can be top 12 going forward. And again, that's not even bold. Like these guys could
Yeah.
really be like top 8 because of just how bad tight ends are and
Yeah.
inconsistent. And yeah, so if they're both going to be
Yeah.
on the field and getting targeted.
Yeah, and I wasn't even like a big Mark Andrews guy coming into this year, but like he's been a top-notch fantasy tight
Yeah,
end for a good handful of years
yeah,
now. I would rather bet on that than like one bad game from him against a team in the Kansas City Chiefs that he typically struggles against anyway. So
yeah,
I would not panic. I think you're fine if Andrews is your only tight end in a redraft league or whatever. You could certainly pick up a backup, whether that's likely or someone else, if you just kind of feel like hedging your bet. and see how things play out. But yeah, I think both of these tight ends, Andrews and Likely, will be pretty good moving forward. We hope that was helpful. Like the video if you got some value out of it. Subscribe to the channel. Follow us on X at Dynasty Savvy, and we will see you in the next episode.